The Skittles, man, trying to tell you.
Hey, change your life, man. Apparently. One, growing up, I never saw a lot of like representation of black and brown doctors, nurses, pharmacists, people in clinician roles, even dentists. Um, so it's one of those, one, see it to be it. You see somebody doing it, you can do it, right? um, which I'm appreciative now that people are embracing the culture. Like even this podcast, like you got people who are wanting to do podcasts now. So many black-owned businesses, people are stepping out saying like, "Oh, I can do it too." So just that representation matters. One, to get more black and brown people into these fields, clinician roles, or even just being a hospital executive. Like right now, we have our CEO is black, and like of one of the largest hospital systems in the Southeast region.
Right.
Um, our chief human resource officer is black. So yeah, like our vice president of diversity and inclusion is black. So I mean, we are
Let's
slowly,
go.
yeah, slowly but surely, um, you know, changing and breaking that glass ceiling. So looking forward to see what happens, going forward. But in regards to actual medicine itself, man, statistics have proven that when you have someone who looks like you, you're likely to be more adherent. So you're
Mm.
likely to go to the doctor more. You're likely to take your medicine, be adherent in regards to that. You're likely to recommend your friends and your family to go see this doctor or this dentist or that nurse or that pharmacist. So it's just so many things like it, and then two, understanding. For example, like my wife went to the doctor probably about 2 months ago. So my wife is your average black woman. She's smaller frame, but she's big old booty, thicker than a snicker. So she's thicker down low. Now I'm being funny, but like she's thicker down
That's
low.
your wife. You can speak
Hey,
on
Right. You know
her.
what I'm
hey, exactly.
saying?
Speak
You
on
know?
it. Speak on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So and but like flat stomach, and like very hippie. But like, so weight wise, the doctor was like, "Oh, you're obese," but it's like, okay, she went to a black doctor, and it's like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Like, not at all. Like, you have to look at the frame, and then two, also understand that like where they getting this guy from. Typically, it is based on, your average, let's say, Caucasian male and females who run marathons every 5 months. Like, no, the average person isn't gonna look like that, and also we as people wear our weight differently. Because if you look at it, like Serena Williams may be listed as obese, but it's like, nah, she's a solid, you know, athlete that's just fit. One, just being able to understand and relate to the patient base too goes a long way. So I think it's definitely important to have more black and brown representation and also indigenous representation when it comes to these roles, man. So
Right. That's so true. Because like you said, like representation really matters, and a lot of people are trying to hop on this bandwagon, but really don't know what they're doing. Like they'll think that they're
oh yeah,
trying to bring in diversity and
oh
they're
yeah,
trying to do inclusion, but actuality they're not. They're missing the
yeah,
ball.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Like I mentioned, or like you mentioned in the bio. So I wrote out a diversity recruiting strategy for pharmacy because we had about like 8% representation. And I just remember like in the presentation, one of the listeners just kept saying, "So what is the goal here? Like, what is the goal we're reaching for?" And I was like, "Let's be careful with that verbiage because when you say what is the goal, like it's a very vulnerable topic, right? That could turn into, well, that's a quota. Because if I'm setting a goal here, it's like, all right, we met 10%. We check off the Negro boxes. Like, nah, that's not what that means. Like,
Got enough of them. Close the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
gate.
Hey, it's too many now. Like we said 10%. It's 12. We got to start firing some people. So yeah, it's like you don't want it to look like it's a quota. So you have to be very careful of like what that means. So it's like let's focus on progression, right?
Mhm.
Focus on persistence and things like that. So yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from when people think that they're being diverse and being inclusive, but instead like you're just trying to check off boxes. So we got a
Yes.
long way to go, but we're making progress. So
Yes, very much so. We are headed in the right direction, even with like Netflix. Like even they have a representation matters section.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I
but
mean, you need it.
right. So yes, it's just great. How about what's the importance of elevating the quality of healthcare services rendered to the minorities and underserved communities?
Oh man, that's vital. They call it social determinants of health. Um, but essentially, like when you look at different communities, right, especially in your more underserved communities, they don't have access to, like, if you go to the hood, right, let's just be frank, you're not gonna find a gym there. You're not gonna find like a Planet Fitness like dead smack in the middle of the hood. You're not gonna find a decent doctor's office. You probably because a lot of these people are going to the emergency room as their like that's who their doctors are.
Mm,
Now, if I'm going to the emergency room once a month and each time I go, I'm seeing different people, then okay, I'm taking this medicine, but this doctor doesn't know I'm taking this medicine, so I'm getting interactions here. So it's important to have uh, and hence like some of the things our hospital is doing is uh, finding ways to serve the underserved. So those without transportation, we have like partnerships with Lyft to go get them from their homes, bring them to the hospitals, and bring them to the doctor's appointment, and then take them back home. Right? Because now you have no excuse as to why you can't get to the doctor. Um, Doing things as far as raising money and having like food trucks and like little food pantries to make sure that we're providing fresh foods to people in these underserved communities. Because again, you don't see a Publix in the middle of the hood. I don't. You don't see Harris Teeters. You probably see a Food Lion, which Food Lion is pretty good, right? But when you look at those like high quality grocery stores, you think of Trader Joe's, you think um, of Publix, you think of Harris Teeters. So finding ways that we can get them fresh foods as well, because um, if you're eating, poorly, then what's that going to
mm,
result in? High blood pressure, diabetes, and things like that. Um, so it's little things like that that people don't even think about. Like people don't even think about how demographics plays a part in what's around it. Like you don't. When the last time you went to the hood and saw a Chick-fil-A, right? But you see McDonald's, you see Popeyes, you see things like that, but you don't see Chipotle or a salad bar. So, next time you're riding around, just look, just like when you start going into maybe a more underserved community, just start looking to see what resources are around. So it's more so
right.
how we can bring resources to them.
That's key in terms of talking about resources, because food is a resource. And like you
Oh,
said
absolutely.
about like the food deserts, I mean, Shani and I were talking about that the other day. I'm not sure if you wanted to chime in, Shani, about just different resources that are not available.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just think there's a lot of disparity and just not being aware.
Oh
Like
yeah.
sometimes the resources are there and then no one even knows about it. So like they
Right.
get, not used. So there's like a double-edged sword. There's a lot of people that don't know they're there and there's people that, they don't have the access to it. So that's with the food desert, it's like you're here in your neighborhood and your supermarket is in somebody else's neighborhood.
Right.
So now you
Exactly.
have to travel so far to get food, and that's like a disparity because now you just want to order pizza or eat at McDonald's because now
Yeah.
you got to get on a bus to go 45 minutes to a freaking hour just to
Yeah.
get some good food. So that's where food deserts come into play, and then that messes up your healthcare.
Right.
And then, like you're saying, the healthcare professionals are at the emergency level, and then like you don't get to have that relationship. So I want to
Yeah.
see how are you building relationships with the people that you get
Exactly.
to see every day. They're coming in. How do you put a smile on their face, B? How are you making
Um,
them happy and serving them that way?
so the one of the things, man, that like my team knows that I'm not a stickler, right? I'm not one of those people that I'm on your back, but like they know that you need to respect the attendance policy because I just need you to be on time and I need you to show up. And I need good service. I can take a mistake being made. I can take, I can take a lot, but those are those things I cannot compromise. Um, so starting with service, uh, one of the things that I always say is it's about the interaction and not the transaction, right? So think about the last time you went to, let's say, McDonald's or any drive-through. You pull up to the window and they just like 928. Like, hey, how you doing? No, like, did you get the double cheese? Like it's just like 978. Like, well, I'm doing fine. Like, nah. So in my, front, one of the things that we try to stay away from is, hey, Autumn Luke, date of birth, here's your medicine. Do you have any questions? Sign here, bye. Like, nah, that's not how our interaction is about to go at all. So you're gonna get greeted. Like they're gonna ask like, hey Autumn, how are you doing today? Or I like your jacket. When is your birthday? Oh, your birthday's in August. Oh, my birthday's in August. Like there's gonna be something there that we, pinpoint because we want to make sure our patients, one, don't feel like a transaction. That's the first thing. Two, that they feel like family. And then three, you want to make them come back because good service makes people come back. Because Chick-fil-A has good service, and you want to go back. But how many ways can you flip chicken? It's the same thing that you get each time you go. You know what I mean? But it's the service that you go back for. It's not necessarily the food. So with these patients, man, like I said, we deal with transplant patients, right? So that's a very vulnerable group. And unfortunately, they have to take meds for the rest of their lives, right? 'Cause for what, let's say you get a kidney transplant, you got to make sure that kidney doesn't reject. So they have no choice but to come to us, right? I mean, they could go to other pharmacies, but you want to make them feel like, all right, I go to a pharmacy where I'm loved. They reach out to me when we need, prescriptions refilled, and they want to go above and beyond to make sure that my kidney is not rejected, that my medicine does not get lapsed, and that I have a smile on my face when I leave. We handing candy out to kids. You know what I'm saying? Like it's little things like that. So
Let's go
uh,
Skittles. Say that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Skittles
Came
on three.
back full circle.
Exactly. So that's what we do.